Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
Oh, Amber's over here now. Somebody is withholding something very important to me.
I lent my flashlight to you. I don't know
I
to.
I needed her flashlight today, and she just didn't have it. And the thing is this. I needed the special colors on her flashlight because I have my own boring flashlight that just has white light, and I needed her flashlight, and she refuses to let me use it for some reason. She doesn't know where it is her excuse. So here's my life drama for you. I can't believe some people who would withhold flashlights from their husbands. Horrible. Huh. And here's some Reddit. Our first story. Oh, this isn't our first story. This is not a story that's being covered today. Here's our first story. Our first story is titled, "Am I the jerk for telling my soon-to-be mother-in-law that my engagement ring is cursed? I'm a 26-year-old female and I just got engaged. Congratulations. My mother-in-law is a nightmare. We are currently renovating a part of our place, and she has been lent a key in the meantime because she keeps coming over uninvited under the guise of helping clean up, but she really just likes to snoop and interfere. I do martial arts, and I take my engagement ring off before class. I came home from an afternoon class one day, and my engagement ring was not in the jewelry dish that I usually leave it in. I asked her about it, and she told me that she'd taken it to a jeweler to get cleaned. She looked super smug about it, and when I asked which jeweler, she pretended she couldn't remember. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of having a reaction to it, so I just let it slide for a couple of days. A couple of days pass, and I ask her about it again, and she is super vague. Still pretending that she can't remember which jeweler and saying that she is too busy to go and pick it up anytime soon. So I say, wow, I really feel for that jeweler. Hopefully nothing happens to her. She asked what I meant, and I told her that my superstitious Brazilian grandmother had performed some traditional ritual that it's usually known to curse who takes or handles the ring other than the owner. She looked uneasy and asked a couple more questions about this ritual, and I made up a story about how my mother's ring had been taken by a burglar who was crushed by a pillar of cement on his way out of the house. I totally made up the entire ritual, and I do have a Brazilian grandmother, but obviously she didn't do some ritual to my ring. The next day, my fiance told me that while I was out, she was there to clean up a bit, and lo and behold, I get home and she had already left, and I find my ring where I had left it. It didn't look any cleaner than it had before. A week later, I receive an abusive call from her saying that she had been in a minor accident and that she was blaming me and my witch doctor grandmother, saying that she was now cursed for having touched it. I passed the phone to my fiance, who tried to calm her down, but she was hysterical. I told my fiance what I had told her, and he scolded me a bit because we both know how she is, and I should have known that she would react this way. It's been a week further since then, and she still refuses to talk to me, and she keeps slandering me to my fiance. Overall, he sort of recognizes how ridiculous she's being, but the drama of the situation is making me wonder if the whole cursed tale was taking it a bit too far. So, am I a jerk? Update, I did not really expect this sort of response to this post. Thank you all so much for the awards. Fiance and I have had a big chat, and he's admitted that he has to step up when it comes to his mother. He retrieved her key an hour ago, and he told her not to worry about the curse because it would have no effect on anyone who touched it without malicious intent. So a big thank you to the commenters who suggested the absolutely gold approach. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk in this situation?
Not the jerk!
I think it was creative. Honestly, that's so clever to be like, oh, well, there's a curse on the ring. I mean, and it just amps it up. The fact that she was in a car accident too. I mean, a minor car accident. If it had been a bad car accident, that would be I'm imagining it was like a fender bender. I'm not laughing at someone's misfortune here. But if it was actually like a actual like injurious car accident, it wouldn't be funny. But I think that this is like just such a creative way to be like, stop stealing my ring. Don't steal my ring. Give it back to me. What was her intent there? Like, why did she take the ring from her? I just don't get it. Was it because she wanted a different her son to buy her a different engagement ring or something like that? I don't know. Just seems like an odd situation in general. So yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, that's hilarious. The nerve of her taking your ring. She deserves a curse. I'm just sorry it's causing trouble for you. I kind of think your fiancé earned it by tolerating her bad behavior and not having changed the locks already. Also, have you checked your ring? I don't understand why she'd take it unless she was trying to keep it away from you. Does she disapprove of the engagement or of you taking it off for a good reason? Was she going to swap the stones or claim to have lost it? I really need to know her motivation for taking it. You might want to come clean before she meets your grandmother at the wedding, though. That's a good point. And OP replies, she never vocally disagreed with the engagement, but she has definitely interfered. I personally think it was just to mess with me or keep it from me. I really don't know. I don't think that she ever took it to the jeweler, to be honest. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for telling my ex-boyfriend that I hope his kid isn't his, or that I hope the kid isn't his? I've been dating a 34-year-old male for 3 months. I am a 32-year-old female, and we are both child-free and want to stay that way. Or so I thought. Before me, he dated a different girl in a different city, but ended it at the end of April because the distance was just too much. He said neither of them have each other's socials, or social media accounts, or that, and he also deleted her number. 2 weeks ago, he gets a call out of the blue from her, and she's shocked because she's pregnant. She didn't find out until that day, as she was still getting her period. She is not showing, and she's only found out via a smear test. He was shocked and told me immediately. I asked him if she booked a termination, and she said that she had decided that she didn't want one, and that she told him that he didn't have to be involved if he didn't want to be, but he was the last person she slept with, so he is probably the father. My boyfriend told her that he needed some time to think. I asked him why he needed time to think because he told me that he didn't want children. He said that this was a lot to process, and although he didn't want children, knowing that his child was coming into the world changed things, and he wouldn't want them not to have a dad. This was obviously a shock, and I said, how did he even know it was his? He didn't even take kindly to this and said he couldn't think of a reason why she would lie. And I said maybe for money, and then he explained it wouldn't be that, as she is from a very wealthy family and she has a very high-paying job in IT. She also told him that she is happy for a DNA test to be done. Things between me and my boyfriend have been a bit rocky since, as he has been communicating with his ex, even though he has constantly kept everything above board and shown me all the conversation. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. DNA tests were done last week, and last night she asked him if he wanted to come to the scan today, but she understood if he didn't, as he hadn't had a DNA test results yet. But he said he would go with her, and I said I was annoyed as I had planned to ask him to go shopping with me, but when I told him this, he said that we could go a different day because he didn't want to miss this. Like I said, he's been great, and he's been constantly checking in on me and asking if I'm okay, but I keep telling him I'm fine because I don't want him knowing how angry I am that he's putting his ex first. Anyway, today I snapped. He came home. I was at his apartment from the scan, and he was so happy. He had an envelope, which I'm assuming had pictures of maybe his baby in it, and also a shopping bag. Before he could open his mouth, I said, so you can take your ex shopping for a kid that's probably not even yours, but you can't go with me. He looked shocked and said, I didn't go anywhere with her after the scan. I needed socks and some other bits. I scoffed and said, I hope the kid isn't even yours. Then I left. It's been 3 hours and he's not contacted me. I told my brother, and he thinks that I'm a psycho and that I'm a jerk, but I don't think that I am. Reddit, am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk in this situation?
Jerk.
This is a tough deal. I mean, I think that OP sounds like they are hiding a lot of their feelings from their partner, which is not a good recipe for a relationship here. And I think that if they really are serious about, basically being fine with their boyfriend, pursuing, the being a father to this child, that they need to be understanding and, work with their now ex-boyfriend, I guess. And I think that this is a bit unfortunate. It sounds like they don't know how to communicate effectively. It doesn't sound like that they're, effectively, telling their partner what they need right now and just hiding it under the guise of being like, well, I don't want him to know how angry I am. Look, OP, sometimes there are deal breakers in relationships. If absolutely your partner not having kids is a deal breaker and he's now changed his mind and wants to have a kid, I think that you need to talk to him about that and have an amicable split at that point in time. And I think that that's really what needs to happen here. I mean, it sounds like, OP is kind of like agonizing about like trying to keep this relationship together, but also, they're not really happy with the current state of things, and they feel like their partner is putting their, ex first before them. And I think that they're acting a little selfish with the whole ultrasound bit, because like, if he wants to go to a medical appointment, and to see the pictures and stuff like that, I think that's probably a little bit more of an important thing to be involved with than a shopping trip. And I mean, maybe it was a little short-sighted that he didn't like give her, OP's, tell OP the schedule ahead of time, but still, it seems like OP is taking this a little too much to heart. And yeah, I think that this is just incompatibility here. So yeah, anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. He didn't put his ex first, he put his child first. Until he has definite proof that the child isn't he is doing what he should be doing. My thoughts exactly. OP is so self-absorbed and jealous that all she sees is her boyfriend and his ex, and not the child he's trying to take care of, i.e. the bigger picture. Our next letter is titled, Am I the jerk for calling my husband's grandmother a hillbilly? So, I'm a 23-year-old female, and my husband is a 28-year-old male, and his grandmother is 81. For background, I'm an Italian American, and the majority of my family is from Italy. Most of my husband's family are Southern born and raised. His grandmother loves to use a certain derogatory term for Italians, which starts with a D, and makes me very uncomfortable every time. I finally had enough, though, this weekend, and the following conversation ensued. Me, with all due respect, that's really offensive to Italians, and I'd appreciate it if you would stop it. Her, well, good thing that we have the First Amendment. You being offended doesn't change that. Me, I understand that, but it would be similar to me calling you a hillbilly, which is hurtful. She hates the word being said in her presence and told me that I was disrespectful and I clearly never learned manners. My husband's family is saying that I should have let it go because she's old. I didn't grow up that way. Old people don't get a pass to be hurtful. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk here?
Not the jerk.
So I think the grandmother is confused about what the First Amendment is. Like, the First Amendment, this is always like a really a pain point for me. The First Amendment doesn't mean that there aren't any consequences to what you say. The First Amendment just means that you're not going to go to jail because you said it. So if you say something hateful or hurtful to somebody, there can be repercussions for that. It doesn't give you a free pass to be a jerk. It just means that the government isn't going to come in and arrest you and throw you in jail for saying that the president is dumb or something like that. That's the First Amendment. It means that you're not going to go to jail for stuff that you say. It doesn't mean that you get to be a jerk. So hopefully, the grandmother learns that soon. And the grandmother's also being like, oh, well, you're being so disrespectful for mentioning the word hillbilly in my presence. When, OP's like, please just stop calling me a derogatory term. So no, I don't think OP is a jerk here because she didn't even call the grandmother a hillbilly. She just said it would be like me calling you a hillbilly. So yeah, not the jerk. Ha ha ha, not the jerk. Old people just want to be like, I want to be horrible and do what I want, but no one can be horrible to me or do what you want. Ah yes, the free speech for me, not for thee argument. I love how even using the word hillbilly completely shorted out Grandma's brain and made her forget what she was talking about in the first place. Grandma sounds pretty awful, and I hope OP can avoid much contact going forward. I've heard the whole, they are old and won't change, but plenty of old people are capable of learning not to be terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of nice, sweet, old people, and I mean, I've been very fortunate not to really meet any terrible, older people for the most part, and I think that, at least people that I've been close with, that is. And I mean, I think that, there are a lot of people and a lot of different demographics here, and unfortunately there can be some bad apples in every generation. So yeah. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all on Monday.
Bye.
Will the saga of the missing fleshlight continue? Tune in on Monday to find out. I don't know if I'm going to cover any updates on the flashlight.